is the murder of Adam Neely, who was not physically harming anyone on the train station, but he was clearly experiencing mental distress, and he was choked to death, according to the coroner's report, by the way. It's not me just saying that, or did I say Adam Neely? Sorry, Jordan Neely. Adam Neely, a famous person? Where did I get that fucking name from? Yeah, this is a music. That's for the fuck. That's the music YouTuber that I just learned about like yesterday. Fuck me. Okay, sorry. Yes, Jordan Neely was murdered by being choked to death on a subway train. A lot of people defended that murder and said that that was the right thing to do. And it's kind of crazy to see how many people living in the suburbs or even in the city behave in this like murderous way to justify a murder. Neely's crime was being in a state of mental distress. The amount of people that have been defending it on the timeline on Twitter is fucking wild. But yeah, let's take a look at how the media is covering it. By the way, the media does have blood on its hands. If, like any other homeless person that gets fucking murked on the streets of New York, the media has played an active role in it. They literally immediately added passive voice like they do when a cop kills someone. Like this guy is a cop. He has been deputized in the moment to like fucking execute someone in the same way the cops do. Like we shit on cops when they do this. Why the fuck is it okay when a civilian does it?
New protests in New York City last night demanding an arrest for the death of a homeless man on the subway, now ruled a homicide. Witnesses say 30-year-old Jordan Neely was speaking aggressively, allegedly threatening others and saying he didn't care if he died. That's when a Marine veteran put him in a chokehold for roughly 15 minutes, other passengers holding his arms. Neely would later be pronounced dead at the hospital. The Marine veteran was questioned and then released.
He killed someone and he choked them for 15 minutes. And they did it in front of witnesses, and witnesses who admit that there was no physical contact between Jordan Neely and any passenger on that train.
Neely, who made money as a Michael Jackson impersonator, had been arrested more than 40 times, including for assault and disorderly conduct, and he had a documented history of mental health issues.
Dude, what are you doing? Like, what are these fucking stills, dude? They are such monsters. They literally fucking cover this like it's a cinematic sequence. You know what I mean? Like, stop. I don't think people need to see this over and over again. Like, we get it. It was newsworthy maybe in the first day. I understand the other side of the argument, which is like people need to see the brutality. But it's wild to me when they just like show it over and over again.
Which were reportedly exacerbated by the murder of his mother when he was 14.
New York City is not Gotham. You can't take the law into your own hands and choke someone to death who's having a mental health crisis.
As the district attorney investigates the case, the mayor is urging against a rush to judgment.
They're doing their investigations, and I'm going to respect that. There are many layers to this.
Advocates say the tragedy is more evidence of the system failing to address what's now become a mental health crisis across America.
There's some forms of mental illness that are episodic. It doesn't mean that because you see someone in a moment that they are, in the worst possible condition. Perhaps he was in distress, but there are different degrees of distress. And again, the situation that was presented was not one where he was.
I haven't even looked into this person's background, but what are we doing? I thought Michael Brown was the last time legacy media was like actually doing the whole like, here is the fucking criminal background of the person that was executed in the hands of the police. Is it because it's new territory where we are like officially deputizing whatever fucking yee ass gung ho motherfucker that wants to execute a poor person? Is that what's going on? Now we're doing the fucking background. You don't know what the criminal background of this person is in the moment. Like, what does that mean? I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, they don't even do this for cops anymore. We all recognize how fucked up that is, because a cop doesn't know what that person's background is when they're behaving in a violent way. They're reacting because they see a black person. So what difference is there when it's a fucking random citizen? What difference does it make? I don't get it. Like, this guy murdered somebody, and the media rushed to immediately talk about his, like, background, talk about the victim's background. Sorry. They hid the truth. They didn't want to talk about how the fucking dude who killed someone was, they only said he was a vet, a former Marine. They never actually said that his dad was a fucking New York State trooper, obviously, which, you know, certainly adds another layer to it, don't you think? Yeah, for the record, it looks like the Daily Mail accidentally leaked the last name of Jordan Neely's killer, Daniel Penny, on a photo caption hours before he was actually identified. So now it's confirmed that the news orgs had his name for some time, but did not release it to protect him. Penny is seen restraining Jordan Neely on an F train in NoHo Monday afternoon. Neely fell unconscious, died shortly afterwards. I don't know. Fuck, I'm sorry to show you that. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but they literally removed the name for the caption after this tweet came out. On Monday night, Jordan Neely was placed in a chokehold on a subway by an unnamed former Marine. They knew his name and they hid it. Why did they do that, you think? Why? Anyway. Let's see if the exact steps that took place for Jordan Neely to become the person that he became. Let's identify, like, if he ever cheated at school all the way down to that level to justify his execution. But God forbid we find out what the fucking killer's name is, because then we could do some actual research on the matter, on the dude who fucking killed the person. But again,
inflicting physical harm on anyone.
The Marine veteran who put Neely in the chokehold has hired a lawyer who has been in contact with the DA's office.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel.
That rotten bitch. Candace Owen. That rotten bitch. She's the worst. I can't think of a worse way to make money. She's the most articulate idiot I've ever seen in my fucking life. She's so articulate, she can tell you how fucking stupid she is precisely. And she told George Floyd's rap record on the internet, oh, he was this, he did that, and he's a drug addict, and he's not a hero, and why does the black community make him a hero? Why do you choose him as a hero? We didn't choose him, you did. They killed him, and that wasn't right, so he's the guy. We're not desperate for heroes in the black community. Any nigga that survives this nightmare is my goddamned hero.
My general opinion is that if someone is just laying on the ground, choking someone in a public place for 15 minutes, that's murder, that's it. I don't think people understand. There are people who you can just murder. Okay? And everyone will celebrate you for it. Homeless people. You know what I mean? A black homeless person in a state of mental in a state of mental distress in public, it's done. It's a wrap. That's it. These people are not seen as those who are failed by the state. They are seen as criminals automatically. And it doesn't matter if their fucking rap sheet is filled to the brim with loitering arrests, with fare evasion arrests. They will turn around and say 44 times he's been arrested. This guy's a massive criminal. Mind-boggling, but we are a deeply evil society. We are a deeply evil society. This is maliciously evil. I'm not going to excuse it. AOC's evil. That is, she's evil. AOC says Jordan Neely was murdered, but because Jordan was houseless and crying for food at a time when the city is raising rents and shipping services to militarize itself, while many empowered demonize the poor, the murderer gets protected with the passive headlines and no charges. It's disgusting. She's right. She said the right thing. But guess what? You can say the wrong thing and get a lot of praise in this country. If everyone is fucking violent, if everyone fantasizes about the moment they too could be deputized to do an execution and they fantasize about it and someone finally does it, we saw it with Kyle Rittenhouse, a lot of people will celebrate you. Okay? Your Central Committee said this is just the sum of the total of a cascade of failures in our systems. Americans can't imagine living in a country where housing is a right, with mental health care as a right, with free public transit. It's just so depressing how far people are from even understanding what a humane society looks like. Yeah, we're fucking animals. We are animals. We're violent, bloodthirsty animals cheering on the villain in the situation because of a possible hypothetical justification for why he had to act out in the way that he did. When all the witnesses surrounding the incident say that Neely did not pose a threat. Who's more of a threat? A fucking homeless person who's going crazy on the subway? Or the guy who killed him? Or, and I'll take it one step further, cackling hyenas all around that are now celebrating the murderer instead of highlighting the homeless person that was first victimized by the systems and then personally victimized by the murderer. Who's more violent? I think the people celebrating the fucking murder are more violent. It's crazy. What are we doing? We have no law and order in this country. We have none of that. How can you say you have law and order and you think there's no law and order because homeless people exist because they've been fucked over by the systems over and over again with no adequate mental health? How can you say there's law and order in this country when a dude who was like trying to fuck underage girls online, who's a current military member and an Uber driver, gets in his car with his fucking gun, drives over to a Black Lives Matter protest, shoots a Black Lives Matter protester who was trying to like defend his quadriplegic girlfriend that he was wheeling around, kills the fucking guy, former airborne, by the way, the victim in this circumstance, in the state of Texas, and is found guilty by a jury of his peers for the murder. Why? In the state of Texas, this is the stand your ground, castle doctrine state. How did this person get found guilty by 12 men and women that are his peers? Because he talked about it. He wrote about it everywhere where people could hear him. He fantasized about murdering Black Lives Matter protesters. He said he's going to go to a protest and kill a protester. And it was so much that beyond a reasonable doubt, they found him guilty of murder. What did the right do? What did they do? They looked at that situation and said, nah, he killed a BLM protester. We want that to happen. We fantasize about that all the time. We want to fucking make sure that that's legal. They pressured, ironically, also handicapped, paraplegic Governor Greg Abbott. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning that is because the dude who died was a Black Lives Matter protester who was trying to push his quadriplegic wife away. So, like, there isn't even that level of empathy in Greg Abbott's mind. Like, think about that. Greg Abbott now saying, send it my way. I am going to pardon this person. I'm going to pardon someone who was caught dead to rights and was found guilty of murder in the state of Texas. I'm going to pardon him because guess what? Law and order means law and order for us, not you. Law and order means if you kill the type of person that we don't like a Black Lives Matter protester, then yeah, you're fine. You're clear to go. That's what law and order means to these fucking freaks. And now we're moving beyond just like allowing cops to kill whoever the fuck they want on sight, especially black people, especially unarmed black people. They could do that. That's fine. We'll move beyond that now. We're deputizing random people that are also acting out the desires of a white supremacist violent state. It's no longer the state that holds the monopoly of violence. It's those who act out the desires of the state that have the monopoly on violence. It's cool. Even in a blue state, in a blue city like New York City, you got a cop that's a fucking mayor that's defending a guy who just killed a fucking homeless person on the subway train. What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? This is how violent we have become as a country. We are the barbarians, okay? And I don't mean that in some cool way. I mean, like, literally. It's barbarism. We are the violent ones. It's not the dudes that get fucking brain broken after having to brave the elements for years and years and years because they got priced out of the housing market. They became houseless. They had to fucking self-medicate. They started doing drugs. They started panhandling and dancing to fucking make money so they could put food on their fucking, put food in their mouths. Not even on their tables because they have no shelter. They wanted to put clothes on their backs. And then they were begging for food and water in their last moments where they got fucking mercilessly executed by a dude who took the matter of the law into his own hands. He didn't even want to wait till it was outsourced at the next fucking train station by a cop. He said, I'm going to do it myself. And now we're defending that. We are the violent ones, not Neely. Do I believe that he was not violent at any moment in his life? I'm sure maybe he was. But it certainly seems, according to the witnesses that were in that car, that he was not violent in that moment. He was not physically harming anyone in that moment. He was being a nuisance. And if you've ever taken the subway or taken any kind of public transit, you know what it's like. It happens. Yes, there are homeless people on the fucking carts, on the trains, on the buses. Okay? There are homeless people that sometimes even constitute a real threat. Okay? And then there are non-homeless people, people with a fucking home that are significantly more violent and demonstrate that threat. But because they are a part of the normal society, you haven't depersonalized them in your minds. You don't think about it in the same terms. At most, the way that we experience homelessness is a fucking nuisance, and sometimes a violent one. That's the only thing we see about homelessness. We don't think about the steps that it took for a beautiful young life to turn into what you see on that fucking video in the lead up to that violent action, in the lead up to that murder. We never think about that. We just see homeless people as like annoying. At worst. That's the way we experience it. Meanwhile, many of the people that defend that execution are like one bad healthcare crisis away from being Jordan Neely. That's the craziest part. 40% of this country does not have $400 in emergency funds. 40% of this country. Fucking kidding me? That means you're one unfortunate accident away from being Jordan Neely. Because God knows we don't have a lot of fucking, Chapter 11 bankruptcy style money saving provisions for the working class. The best you get, if you're in a fuckload of debt due to unforeseeable conditions, is maybe a little bit of fucking welfare. And even that is conditional, and even that's constantly being, talked about as though it's a moral hazard. You got no safety nets if you're working class in this fucking country. And you are so close to being just like Jordan Neely. And you don't even know it because, hey, you got a steady diet of Mountain Dew coming down your way. You can go to Applebee's every now and then and pay for a $5 jalapeno popper. You got a new TV in the living room, so you don't even think about it. You're like, fuck it. That's not going to happen to me. That's crazy. You don't know. You have no control over your workplace. You have no freedom. You spend 80% of your lives in the fucking workplace, a place where you have no control over whatsoever. People still talk shit about the writer's strike. Oh, I don't like their fucking writing. I don't like the content they're putting out. Meanwhile, you work. Where do you fucking work? You work as an accountant. You know what I mean? You think people like what you do? No. Is that what we're doing? We're making qualitative assessments on your fucking job and how I personally feel about it for you to get back a larger percentage of the fucking value that you literally generate? You're a white-collar guy who sits and listens to me at fucking work all goddamn day, making it seem like you're working every time your manager passes by, and you're over here making assessments on, well, do you deserve a percentage of the fucking value that you generate? Only if I like what you're doing. Come on. We're all doing the same dumb shit, okay? And the difference between someone like yourself and someone like Neely is that his spawn point was worse than yours. We have to have more empathy for people. We have to have more empathy for people even if we are not close to them. Even if we are not close in socioeconomic proximity to them. Okay? Meanwhile, I gotta fucking sit here and defend my existence and my policies and my politics and my ideology because I'm fucking rich. Rich from streaming. Every fucking day. You want to know the real reason why I have to defend it? Because motherfuckers are so far removed from having empathy for the other, for having empathy for someone even in a similar circumstance to them, that they immediately start shooting the messenger. It's not because like there is any sort of genuine hypocrisy that you're seeking out here. It's because you hate hearing it. Don't matter. You hate hearing it from a poor guy. You hate hearing it from a rich guy. You just hate hearing it. You hate the message. Because we have dismantled the humanity of every single American. We have dismantled it. You have no opinion on anyone that doesn't revolve around like, fuck you, what does this do to me? I don't give a fuck about you. What does this say about me? My feelings. Well, can we center the conversation around my feelings? I'll talk about a strike and someone will go, oh, that's ableist. I can't do a strike. Strikes actually put me in harm's way. I got fucking mental issues. I'll kill myself if I don't fucking watch Jimmy Fallon. You know what I mean? Like, why? Why are you bringing that up? You don't have to be so hyper individualistic. Oh, well, you know, homeless guy in a state of mental distress was executed. Well, guess what? You know, I'm a tiny woman and I'm scared. Okay? So maybe it was okay that this guy got executed. It's like, yeah, if you're a tiny woman and you're scared of the fucking black homeless dude, let me tell you something about the white guy that killed him. Okay? You should be just as scared, if not infinitely more scared of the other dude. Okay? Because he actually killed someone. You're scared of the hypothetical of the homeless guy. You should be way more scared of the other dude. Okay? Because that other dude killed someone and almost got away with it and might still get away with it. Whew. Imagine trying to say, haha, I'm scared of the homeless guy that was murdered in this circumstance more than I'm scared of the guy who actually fucking murdered him with his bare hands. It's crazy. But that's what happens when you successfully depersonalize, successfully dehumanize an entire group of individuals. And I'm not just talking about the fact that he was black. That obviously is a compounding factor in this process. I'm talking about the fact that he was homeless. Okay? That's it. We've been conditioned into avoiding homeless people and seeing them as human beings because we see those human beings get destroyed every fucking day. We watch them brave the elements. We watch them take shits outside because there's no fucking public bathrooms. And if you had to step back and think this is a human being for a brief moment, you would fucking lose your mind. That's such a devastating thing to see. Devastating. Think about it. A real human being could be your mom, could be your dad, could be your brother, could be your sister. They're out there living in a fucking, tent every night with fear that they don't know how they're going to feed themselves. Where the next food is coming from, they don't know. So, instead of dealing with that reality, instead of, coming to terms with the reality that we have we have all these people that are absolutely destroyed all around us, trying to survive every single day, we decide to not see them as human because that's easier. Because if you think that they're fucking human beings, then holy shit, what are we doing to human beings? What are we allowing to happen to human beings right in our vicinity? And that level of depersonalization is how you arrive at this kind of action being defended by a broader population. Okay? That's it. That's how you get here. Now, this doesn't mean, like I've talked about before, that like it should be normal or you should have to literally be a social worker. Hold on. We gotta get Marat to look at it. Ay, dude. Oh, anyway, no, my mom couldn't unlock the door. She had groceries in her hand, so I had to unlock the door myself. as I was saying, what is the solution? All this complaining and no solution? Oh man, I'm complaining about fellow motherfuckers who are literally celebrating. I mean, I don't know what the solution is to to just living in such a fucking inherently violent society. But as far as the solution to like a person suffering in the fucking streets and not doing anything, the solution has to be systemic. It's a thing I talked about a million times over. You've been following me since 2020, 12/30. I'm sure you've accidentally heard it. I think you just want to be a smarmy little dipshit in the fucking chat, unless this is the first time you've heard me talk about homelessness and what to do to deal with this problem. But honestly, Google is so fucking cheap. It's free. You know, you pay a little bit of ad revenue by giving up your privacy. Just go to the fucking YouTube search bar and just type in Hasanabi homelessness. Instead of coming here and being a fucking annoying little dickhead to try to make it seem like I'm at fault when I'm in the process of describing to you why people shoot the fucking messenger, you act out that same fucking idiotic tendency. Stop chewing into the mic, idiot. I'm chewing on your mother's pussy later tonight, you fucking dingus, you donkey, you fucking asshole. Fuck you, piece of shit, garbage monster. Misophonia fucks doing literally the same exact thing I just said. Oh my God. Let me center this conversation around me for a moment. Me! Me! You're talking about a homeless person being executed and everybody celebrating it, but me! What about my personal opinions? I'm having a bad day! America has decided that being a narcissistic, selfish piece of fucking garbage is a virtue. It's a virtue. And you can do it with every type of politics. You could do it on the right by vice signaling. You can do it on the left by virtue signaling. It's fucking awesome. You can come into a leftist space and be like, I know you're talking about a homeless dude being executed in broad daylight and the broader majority of society fucking celebrating it instead of going, holy fuck, that's actually terrifying. That could be any of us. And you go, I don't like that you're chewing into the fucking microphone. You think anyone's going to give you empathy? You fucking donkey? The fuck out of my face. You narcissistic piece of shit. Fuck you. There's an entire stadium full of motherfuckers in here. You think what you have to say matters. It doesn't. Maybe your mom and dad should have fucking told you that instead of avoiding you like the top of the hour ad break. Which comes at the top of the hour and sometimes at 3:25. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Puro Idamo. Thank you for the 10 gift subs. Vivonjik, thank you for the 10 gift subs. XV4NDALX, thank you for the 10 gift subs. Allowing 30 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Moms for Hasan, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Ism Ish and Mr. Glitchmaster, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. PR Arg Lamau. I mean, there is no PR for these fucking dickheads, man. What do you mean? PR doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and act like someone who is like more concerned about his own personal stream comfort than whatever the fuck we're talking about. You know what I mean? That's never going to be something I capitulate to, brother. Sorry if that's what you thought was going to happen in the PR arc. The PR arc is just basically getting my own fans to no longer fucking make jokes about what I'm doing that get picked up by my fucking haters and elevated like it's the truth. That's all that is. The PR arc is the reason why people go, wow, it sure seems like Hasan is doing a lot more stuff lately that seems to be good, that, is in line with his values. When I've been doing the same shit for years, they just didn't hear about it, or instead thought the opposite because my fucking haters, and my fans alike from time to time, would either jokingly or in a very serious way lie. Guy had 44 assault charges. Wait, 44 assault charges? First of all, if that dude had 44 assault charges, okay, and he wasn't attacking people, you're lying. So either you're misguided or you're just straight up lying. I'm just going to let you know. Like, the people in the cart that were fucking filming the process said that he wasn't actually a serious physical harm to anyone. But if you think that the guy has 44 assault charges, don't you think that that is like a major fuck up by the system itself? Or do you really think he had 44 assault charges? Or maybe instead of 44 assault charges, he had 44 arrests, which could be for a litany of different things that you would never in a million years get arrested for because you're not wearing tattered clothes and you're not fucking homeless, like loitering, okay, standing outside of a business, having a mental health crisis in public, but because you have friends and family, they can help your fucking shit ass. You know what I mean? Or take you to a place where you actually, can do it privately, open containers, jaywalking, and most importantly, fare avoidance, fare jumping. I mean, people that fucking, people that don't pay the fare. That's usually what happens. But it doesn't matter. Let's say he had 44 assault charges. If you have 44 assault charges, do you think the solution to that is for some random fucking guy to come in and play judge, jury, executioner? And if you said yes to that, what's to stop me from killing you in a similar capacity because I assumed you have 44 assault charges? And what if, God forbid, you do have 44 assault charges? Or even one, for that matter. Who cares, That's not how you run a society. It doesn't work that way. That's why we have law and order. That doesn't mean law and order for me and not you. That doesn't mean law and order for whoever the fuck annoys me so I can kill them. That means we have a set of rules. And one of those is not to make these kinds of ridiculous, post hoc assumptions and rationalizations in an effort to justify murdering someone. Oh my God. Blows my mind. What are we doing? At 44 charges, dude, you're getting chokeholded. Anyway, this stuff's pretty wild, man. The amount of people that have been defending this shit is crazy. I mean, and the ways that they've been defending it is crazy. Baya Ungar Sargon says, deputy opinion editor of Newsweek, of course, because I ride the subway a lot. Not a week goes by that a mentally ill person doesn't get on and terrorize the entire car, especially women, especially Asians. Usually the men just sit there and pretend it's not happening. It's a disgrace that New Yorkers had to live like this. Okay, what about a dead person? Are you telling me, honestly, that, like, choke slamming and executing a fucking person is, like, less bad than a person being a nuisance? Like, that's what you're saying. Every single thing I hear from motherfuckers like this, every single time I'm like, okay, so someone died in front of you. Like, they were physically executed in front of you, and that's your preference? Like, you want a show? You want some popcorn to go along with that murder? Like, what's happening? Like, that's what you're saying. Why are people not registering that? Because that's what's going on. Why are people not seeing that? That's what it's being charged with. It's a homicide. Like every day, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, dude. People are so desensitized. We don't even know enough to judge what happened to Jordan Neely, but lots of people who don't live in New York, lots of people who don't ride the subway have a lot of opinions. Bitch, you have an opinion. Fuck you mean? You don't know what happened, but I have an opinion. You made an assessment. You made an assessment right here. This assessment is defending the murder. So it didn't take much for you to make that assessment. So why the fuck are you upset that someone's immediate inclination is to go, maybe we should fucking try to understand why someone is a victim? You're not only defending the person who did the homicide, but turning around and saying, why are people defending the murder victim? That's crazy. That's a crazy ass thing to fucking say. You're like, nah, whenever a murder happens, I immediately go, how do I blame the victim? Michael Hudd says, I worked inpatient psych in Detroit for 6 years, only had CPI, crisis prevention and intervention training. I never heard a patient while de-escalating a violent situation. Also reported coworkers when I did witness abuse in any form. People are delusional that you need a fatal chokehold to de-escalate. Yeah.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Bro, you're literally missing the skin color. That's exactly why they're justifying it. No. It's not. No. Being black in this situation is a compounding factor, as it is in every situation. Living in a white supremacist society, certainly some people see a black man being murdered and go, I love that. The main component here is homelessness. He's a black man, and perhaps worse, a black homeless man. That combo is so deadly. Please read, I beg. I was attacked on the train by a homeless person. It was incredibly scary. If someone killed him, I'd be heartbroken. I'm a tiny woman and was alone. He was ill. Doesn't deserve a death sentence. He deserves help. Exactly. 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 You're a white woman. You can pass me with that whole weaponizing Asian woman on the platform of anti-blackness. Asian women can speak for ourselves, and I haven't seen any argument that a young black man frustrated by this capital system deserves to be murdered by a Marine. This way of evoking the injured Asian body is rooted in imperialist fantasies of Asian women needing to be saved, and it goes hand in hand with the criminalization of black men. Both valorize the white male soldier cop savior complex. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of good takes. This incident didn't even have anything to do with Asian women, but instead of the militarization of white citizenry to do the work of the carceral state, Opie doesn't actually have Asian women's interest in mind at all, but wants to use it as a theoretical prop to justify lynching. Yeah. Dude was a homophobe, but done a gay man and called him the F word. AOC is such an evil person. Wait, we can execute homophobes on site now? Is that what Tim Pool's saying? Is that how that works? For a man that complains about nuance, you are painting this with pretty broad strokes.